I'm sorry.
You really took a beating. What's a girl doing out here?
Girl? Are you talking about me?
Well, yeah, I don't know your name. Sorry, I wasn't trying to be rude. I'm Lark, and you are...
Rude? What is rude?
What?
I thought you were going to call me girl. Do you call everyone girl?
Damn, what's up with all these fell dragons? They're so angry. Of course, the world is populated by monsters, but these flying creatures take the cake for being a pain in the ass for the Meridian Empire. As main character Lark, a mercenary acting for the military, it's up to you to hopefully put a stop to these flying beasts of havoc and, of course, not get yourself completely slaughtered in the process. While taking several out in fantastic fashion, you still really aren't equipped to handle so much chaos when it's trying to eat you for lunch. You take a dive off your airship, but luckily, and who the hell knows how or why, you somehow manage to stay alive. On your return home, you run into a naive young girl named Rydia. This girl claims to be a diva, which, what the hell is that? You don't even know, from the rival continent and empire. She really doesn't make much of a conversationalist because she does not understand just about anything, but whatever, you kind of think she's cute, and so you two make your way back to town just in time to see a neat little invasion. Now, who the hell are these people? Arc-Rise Fantasia probably has the most horrific localization of a story-based game I have seen in a very long time. It is shockingly inappropriate and just wretched. The American version is English dub only. As an RPG, there is a lot of dialogue, much of it spoken, and for the very first part of the game, it sounds nauseating. Moving on from that, though, this game is very Tales of Symphonia. The color palette, menus, background music, sense of storyline, progression, the existence of skits are all very telling of the game's influences. This is not necessarily condemning, but any RPG fan worth their salt will see the Tales references all over the place. They are there. So when the game kind of feels like a ripoff of something else, the storyline takes its sweet time to develop and finally hook you, the translation fails to help out at all, and the outright bad voice acting takes its toll on your mind without ever giving you a break. This is definitely a game that you will probably find yourself wanting to write off immediately. There is a small shimmer of potential, but it will probably take a very optimistic gamer to actually go and try to reach it. This is all the fault of the budget localization, and I am definitely not one to naturally whine about translations either. All of this was very disappointing. The storyline continues to progress. In the effort to fight off this invasion of what used to be a very peaceful town, Lark ends up absorbing a Rogress, essentially a summoned creature, kind of, that was previously harnessed by the Empire in order to bring limitless energy to the kingdom. Well, despite fighting off the invasion, making an irreversible pact with this thing didn't please the rulers too much. Now you're kind of on their shit list. In the meantime, that girl Rifia, remember her? She keeps spouting all this nonsense about how you're supposed to be the child of Isa. What the hell is that? She won't even give you a good explanation. But it's up to you to represent this thing, this god, and live through the destiny that's been bestowed upon you to keep the world from crystallizing over. Or so you think. Are you really doing the right thing here? Also, it seems like one of your childhood friends aren't taking too lightly to your new philosophy here either. Arc-Rise Fantasia eventually hooked me. Before I knew it, I was completely down for the entire 50-hour stretch. It snuck right up and got me. What's actually going on in this game is pretty damn interesting. A large cast of characters slowly get introduced, and while some of them are kind of stereotypical, it does get pretty interesting. There's a lot of variety, and most of them have a pretty cool background. Many rivalries are built up throughout the course of the game, and I found myself looking forward to the final conclusion of each and every one of them. A few scenes are hurt here and there due to the bad voice acting, but it does improve to be at least average, barely, by the end of it. You can definitely tell that this was a growing project for many of the people involved with this game. The gameplay definitely contains an edge as well. At first it feels like a generic turn-based system, but then skills are slowly built up, though yes, much faster than Final Fantasy XIII. You can use a physical attack, a special attack that draws from a meter that is slowly filled up on its own, a magical attack which requires an item to refill, use an act skill that is special to your customized weapon, move your character, or defend. Each different activity carries a different amount of weight, and you can only do so many per turn. Once you get used to the system and everything becomes available, it's awesome. There are combo physical attacks, combo special attacks, and more. It really kind of reminds me of Chrono Trigger in a way with this part of the game. Boss battles truly become dramatic and spectacular. You'll be hanging on the edge for dear life, barely managing to heal yourself so that you don't get embarrassingly wiped, just praying that the meters you're relying on manage to fill themselves up soon, while waiting for a round that you can safely do something without getting completely ravaged the next. It is intense as hell. Each boss fight was amazing. Early game, normal enemy fights can be monotonous at times, but no worse than other standard games of this genre. Some people have complained about a lack of save points in this game. There were a couple instances where one seemed to be spontaneously missing from where it should have been for no particular reason, but it never affected my enjoyment, and I never lost too much time from getting killed. Rise Fantasia had a lot of potential to become a sleeper hit and a reference point for a good Japanese RPG on the Nintendo Wii, which has otherwise been kind of desolate all in all. The localization provides a gigantic hurdle that will now keep many from ever playing this thing, and that's really what makes me the saddest about all of this. I'll admit that Rise Fantasia's storyline never really pushes any boundaries, but I was still able to get really into it, and the gameplay was very fun. Sometimes the town hopping and slow progression of the storyline can become a little slow, but otherwise I really recommend checking this game out. Rise Fantasia for the Nintendo Wii receives an 8 out of 10.